The sun was setting over the busy city street, painting everything in shades of gold and orange. A well-dressed man in a sleek suit walked briskly down the sidewalk, his expensive shoes clicking against the pavement. Beside him, his young son ran ahead, full of energy and curiosity. But something caught the boy's frail figure sitting by the curb, shivering in tattered clothes, holding out a worn cup. The man didn't even glance her way. He kept walking, lost in his own world of meetings and money, but his son stopped. He looked back at his father, eyes wide with a mix of shock and recognition. "Dad, that's Mom," he whispered, his voice trembling. The man froze, confusion and disbelief flashing across his face. Could it really be? How had life brought them to this moment? The woman on the street seemed so familiar, yet impossibly distant, as if time had erased her from his life. In that fleeting instant, the world seemed to pause. Questions swirled in the air. Who was she really? And why was she here? What happened that changed everything between them? The boy tugged at his father's hand, urging him to see what he had missed all these years, setting the stage for a story that would unravel secrets, heartbreak, and a twist no one saw coming. The man's mind raced as he stared at the woman, a jumble of memories and emotions crashing over him. Years ago, she had been everything his partner, the love he thought would last a lifetime. But life had pulled them apart, leaving only regrets and unanswered questions. How had she ended up here, on this cold, crowded street, holding nothing but a worn cup and a tired smile? His son's small hand gripped his, pulling him closer to the woman. "Dad, she's the one," the boy insisted softly, his innocent certainty cutting through the man's confusion. The man's heart thumped, but pride and disbelief held his feet in place. Could it really be her, the mother of his child, someone he had loved and lost, reduced to this fragile figure before him? Around them, the city moved on. Indifferent people hurried past, immersed in their own lives, oblivious to the quiet drama unfolding on the sidewalk. The contrast between the man's polished world and her worn, weary presence was stark, almost surreal. Questions lingered in the air, heavy and unspoken. Why had she disappeared all those years ago? What had happened to her in the time he had failed to be there? And most pressing of all, was there still a chance to make things right, or had life moved too far beyond repair? The man's gaze lingered on her, and a knot tightened in his chest. He wanted to reach out, to ask 100 questions at once, but words failed him. His son's small face looked up at him, expectant and trusting, and that simple faith made him pause. The boy had always admired his mother's warmth, the stories she used to tell, the laughter that used to fill their home. Could he have been so blind, so caught up in his own world, that he never realized what was lost? Meanwhile, the woman's eyes flicked up, meeting his for a brief, fleeting moment. There was recognition, yes, but also a guarded distance, as if life had taught her to protect herself from disappointment. Her hands trembled slightly around the cup, revealing the struggles she had endured in his absence. The man's mind raced through possibilities. Had she been waiting for him? Or had life simply taken a cruel path neither of them could control? As the crowd moved around them, he noticed subtle details he had never seen before. The slight limp she carried, the worn jacket she clutched close. Every detail hinted at a story, a hidden chapter he had no idea existed. And in that moment, he realized that reconnecting wouldn't be simple. There were wounds to confront, secrets to uncover, and emotions tangled far deeper than he had ever imagined. Yet the tug of destiny, of unfinished business, kept him rooted, unsure whether to step forward or retreat into the safety of the world he knew. The man finally took a hesitant step forward, his heart pounding so loudly it seemed the entire street could hear it. His son squeezed his hand, urging him silently, and the weight of years lost pressed down with every heartbeat. The woman shifted slightly, as if sensing movement behind her, but didn't speak. Her eyes, weary yet striking, held a mix of curiosity and caution, warning him that this moment was fragile, that one wrong step could shatter it all. Memories flooded back, quiet mornings, shared laughter, promises whispered in the dark. Each memory was a reminder of what had been torn away, and the realization that time had changed them both hit him like a cold wave. He wanted to explain, to apologize, to reach across the years that separated them, but fear and pride tangled together, holding him back. Round them, life continued, indifferent to the drama unfolding on the sidewalk. The city's hum became a background to his racing thoughts. Every second stretched painfully long, and the distance between them felt both enormous and unbearably small. His son's eyes never left her, pleading silently for a reunion he wasn't sure he was ready to claim. Then, just as he opened his mouth to speak, she looked directly at him, and something in her expression shifted, an unspoken question. A hint of recognition, a spark of emotion that made his chest tighten even more. In that suspended moment, everything hung by a thread, and the air seemed charged with the possibility of a revelation that could change their lives forever. Before he could speak, a voice rang out sharply from behind them. "Leave her alone." A young woman, clutching a folder tightly, pushed through the crowd and approached with a mix of anger and urgency. The man turned, confused, as she waved the papers in the air. "You don't know the whole story," she said, her eyes darting between him and the woman on the street. The boy's grip on his father's hand tightened. Sensing the sudden tension, the man's mind spun. Who was this stranger, and why did she seem to know so much about the woman he thought was his lost love? The woman on the street flinched, glancing nervously at the newcomer, and for the first time, the man noticed something else: an envelope peeking out from her coat, worn and folded as if it had traveled a long journey. Questions swirled like a storm. Why had she been out of his life for so long? Why was someone now intervening at this precise moment? And what secrets had been hidden in that folder, in that envelope, that could change everything he thought he knew? The city's noise faded into a tense silence as he realized that this encounter was more than a reunion. It was the start of a revelation that would challenge everything: their past, their present, and the fragile hope of what could come next. Every heartbeat seemed to echo the question that now burned between them. Could he face the truth, no matter how shocking it might be? The man's heart raced as he finally stepped closer, the envelope in the woman's hands now fully visible. With trembling fingers, she opened it, revealing old photographs, letters, and documents, proof of a life that had been hidden from him. His breath caught as he recognized their shared memories, the proof of struggles she had faced alone. While he had built his world of wealth and comfort, tears welled up in her eyes as she spoke softly. "I didn't leave you because I wanted to. I had no choice. I had to protect you both." The boy watched, wide-eyed, as his father sank to one knee, the weight of years of guilt and regret pressing down. "I should have been there," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. "I should have never let you go." Just as it seemed the reunion could finally unfold, the young woman with the folder stepped forward. "There's more," she said, handing over another document. The man's eyes widened as he read, a legal claim revealing that their lost love had been forced into a difficult situation by someone close to him, someone he had trusted completely. The twist was shocking and unexpected. The woman had been keeping not only her survival secret, but also protecting them from a danger he had never imagined. In that moment, the man realized that love, forgiveness, and courage could finally bring them together, but only if they faced the final revelation together. The city around them blurred, as past mistakes, hidden truths, and the promise of a second chance collided in one electrifying, life-changing moment. The man held the envelope close, finally understanding the full weight of everything they had endured. The woman on the street stepped forward, her hands brushing against his. And for the first time in years, there was no fear, only a quiet hope. His son ran ahead and wrapped his arms around her, laughter mixing with tears, bridging the gap of years apart. They walked together slowly, talking softly. As the city's chaos faded into the background, she shared the hardships she had faced, the struggles that forced her to stay away, and the sacrifices she had made to protect them both. The man listened, humbled, realizing that love was not measured in wealth or time apart, but in understanding, forgiveness, and the willingness to face life's challenges together. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, the three of them sat on a nearby bench, holding hands, hearts lighter than they had been in years. The boy's laughter filled the air, a reminder that hope could survive even the darkest moments. As they walked home together, the man glanced at her and whispered, "We'll never let go again." And in that moment, with past regrets behind them and the promise of a future rebuilt on trust and love, life felt whole again, proof that even the deepest wounds could heal when courage and heart led the way.